Good morning, everyone. How are you doing? Awesome. So first of all, I wanted to start by expressing my gratitude and deep thanks for being here. This is an important investment of your time, your energy, resources of being here, and we're delighted to be hosting you. And more importantly, that we can have a very valuable conversation. So I wanted to start introducing myself. My name is Jose Gomez Cueto. I started in Microsoft in year 2000, and my very first job was the VAR channel manager, which included distribution account management back in Latin America. So I've been around the block a couple of times, and what this community represents is where I started. So I have a very important connection. I also wanted to just summarize a little bit of what we're going to be trying to do today in terms of the main objective. So we can accomplish this. It will be success for me, and just eager to keep it real and get your input. Number one, I'm going to start by sharing something that I've shared in other sessions in case you've been in some of the channel events, just to break down what SMB means and how do we think about it in terms of the actual customer structure. We also have something very important that is the research of how customers are buying IT. And then we're going to be talking a little bit about research on AI, which is something that we started to do almost a year and a half ago, because actually I was talking to many of you yesterday, and I was checking on your confidence level on how do you feel equipped to serve. And Chris, you should be keeping me honest here, said, like, are you really confident that you can go sell Copilot? And sometimes I still see a couple of eyebrows raised, like, I'm not sure. What about the other things on AI? So the reason of this research is not just to throw a lot of data and insights at you, but how do we make them actionable to really on top that great opportunity? And the third one, just to keep it real, how do we take that into action? And I'm going to be walking you through some specific tools and a specific advisor tool that we have that can help you break the ice on those conversations with the customer. So does that sound like a good plan for everyone? Are you ready? Okay, everyone got coffee? Okay, hopefully we'll keep it energetic. So customer insights, and what I wanted just to break down is some very simple concepts. So some of you might have already seen it, but I wanted to make sure that we set the level ground in terms of how we think about the SMBs, because SMB is not a monolith. It's not a one segment or one customer type. And in the case of Microsoft, especially in the Americas organization that I lead, sometimes it includes what we call unmanaged customers. And unmanaged customers could be larger customers. So feel free to take shots and pictures and video. We will have this content for you, but by all means, don't let that stop you. So I wanted just to orient you. I realized that the font might be a little bit small, so there's some important pieces of information here. Number one, it's not a monolith. We break it down in terms of three subsegments. We still come from a little bit from the legacy of selling PCs, right? So it's very user-based, but I want to make the disclaimer that in the case of Azure, it's compute power, so we don't think about employees size count. But the main concepts here that are on this slide is what is the size of the customers in each of these brackets when we have very small, and medium. And the important thing is how to think about the role that that you play when customers are considering acquiring technology. So in the case of the very small, most of these are, we put a range. It's not fixed, but we say below 10. Many of them are solo entrepreneurs. There's no one, no IT department. They're making the decisions. In the majority of the cases, they're using consumer services, free stuff, or even if it's paid, is consumer. Where it gets interesting is when we go into what we call the small, which we have this next bracket of 10 to 24, which they actually start working with one or more MSPs or service providers or someone that is advising them. And in this case, it's still a mix, depending on how savvy the owner or the manager is. They'll make some decisions, but they're starting to rely more on the MSPs to get things done and outsourcing IT fully or partially. And then I'm sure many of you see yourself there, depending on some customers, but where we see all of have big opportunities. The next one is in the medium space, which has to do where you actually have a more mature organization with an established IT role. And in these customers, you actually would find an IT manager, whether they call themselves the CIO or IT director. And in this case, also they include, working with at least 3 or more partners. Usually they go by a specific area. So hopefully can you go back to the previous one? The important thing here is the takeaway is the role that you play. Because in all of these cases, what the research is telling us and what the customers tell us is that, you play a very important role being protagonist. And we used to say, yeah, you play the IT role. I used to tease, you're the CIO of these customers. The research is telling us that they're looking at you to even do more than just technology. And those are the things that you can see in the last line in the bottom, which is decisions around IT, Chief Information and Security Officer, everything that we talked about in the panel yesterday about cybersecurity. Many times operations, digital skilling, how to train employees, ESG around social responsibility, and so on. So it just spans the role, and I think that's why we see you guys as ladies as the hero, and that's why we're so committed in working with MSPs, because we know you are the ones serving our SMBs. So the second part of the story that is super interesting is not only how we structure them and how they're organized, but more importantly, what are the purchasing buying behaviors. So in the last 3 years of research, and we've been updating these every single quarter, there's an important pattern, and you probably heard the word about the millennials taking over. Like, it's not taking over, like it's already more than half of the workforce. So what it is interesting about this study, and the part that I wanted to highlight, is how they actually purchase. This generation is more close to technology. They see an important connection of what technology can do to help them achieve their business goals. And the research is also telling us that they're more tech savvy. They embrace new technology as early adopters, so they're always on it. And they're very aware of the risk of cybersecurity, so it's a big top of mind. And something that is very compelling is they're likely to work with an MSP. If you think about it, we have all this opportunity. They're embracing technology. They're prone to work with an MSP. It's a great opportunity when you think about all of these things combining. So I wanted just to, if we go to the next slide, just in terms of the growth, I think you saw it yesterday. We always show up with these big trillion numbers. They used to be billions, now they're in the trillions. But more importantly, what I wanted to ground you here is when we think of the Americas, which is pretty much represented in my team and also the market that you serve. I think most here of you are North America. We have an amazing opportunity related to what is the addressable market opportunity, the number of accounts that exist in terms of business. And this is not taking the really small ones, the solo entrepreneurs. These are like more established organizations. It is the fastest growing segment. And in the case of Microsoft, the majority of our revenue is all through you. It's all through our partners. So this is the importance, and that's why we are investing in, as Nina and Harp and Heather and everyone was saying yesterday, in terms of invigorating our MSP community. So hopefully that is very encouraging. That's something very positive that you can take away in terms of this part of the presentation. So let's switch gears then in terms of the AI research, because the goal here again is not just to show you. I'm not a research guy. I use a lot of research to take decisions. But more importantly, what we wanted to tell you is perhaps the most important takeaway of this part is business value realization. Business value realization. All these technologies, awesome, and some of us that are a bit on the nerd side and get excited by features and things that you can do on new technology, at the end of the day, what matters is what can you allow and empower business to do. And it is an important connection. And I know it might sound a bit kind of like quirky or strategic or talking about Microsoft vision, but that's what we're all about. It's empowering every organization and person in the planet to achieve more. So if we can actually understand what people want to achieve, what are the business objectives in terms of what AI brings, I think there's an important connection that can allow us then to go and sell different technologies around the AI. So I'm going to be talking about AI category as a category, and then we're going to be doing some specific use case scenario in the life of a small business of what Copilot can bring through a day in the life experience. So it can be more tangible, because I think we showed some scenarios, but they were very feature based. So what we did, we partner with an organization that allows us to do some important research, and this is something that has been going on for more than 14 months since we were right at the beginning of the announcements that we had last spring with a lot of the releases that we were announcing or products that became available primarily in the enterprise side. So we started to understand we wanted to know how SMBs are thinking about AI. What are the key inhibitors? What is in their top of mind? What do they want to achieve with it? How do they think they're going to use it, etc. So the research started with 500 customers, and we went all the way and enhanced to 3,000 customers. And I'm going to talk specifically about even the number of apps that we're tracking through this research organization called AI for SP, and SP is because it also stands for social progress and economic growth. So this is holistically covering not only commercial, but also nonprofits, and it's also spanning across multiple continents. The research now has expanded in not only in Latin America, but also in EMEA and Europe. So it's starting to get a lot of, I wouldn't say telemetry directly from usage, a lot of updates every month in terms of how AI is being used, which we're super excited. So let's jump into some of the first insights. So I'm gonna just be like doing like a bit of a rapid fire, hitting you in slides with 1 or 2 data points. So this one probably you've heard it like 4 times at least since yesterday. I saw it in 3 different decks. But the important part is like this is just a massive shift. The takeaway here is the velocity. The velocity and the disruptive change and the nature of how this technology is being embraced is unprecedented. So we talk about the Industrial Revolution. We talk about this being the most important one. But what is important to consider is the speed at which AI is being adopted, and how significant the shift is in how it's going to impact the way business operate and how they're using this technology. And what you can see in the chart is basically a contrast between that and just what it took the previous big waves of technology. So as we think about the first question was basically related to security, and I think that what we started to see was this a bit of I wouldn't say fear, but skepticism around privacy specifically. Because when the moment where people understand that their data is the one that is being used, just a ton of questions that we all would have. Like, for example, where is that data getting stored? Is that data traveling to a data center? Is that a connection between my endpoint to the data center secure? How is this going to be used? Is it going to be into a language model that is getting trained? Is this information going to be available for others? And even in the early days, I was personally working with a law firm, an injury law firm, and they were so excited, but they were really, really concerned that a lot of this data that was private would go into the language model. So they're valid concerns, they're healthy concerns, and that's something that you might remember in the early days when Microsoft came with a responsible AI framework, even before we launched Copilot, and that's an important key value differentiator. I'm not going to pitch the AI pitch for Microsoft related to compliance and security. We can send you the link, but more importantly, I want you to know that that is a big differentiator that we have a lot of pride in showing our customers how we actually, what are our guidelines, how we're architecting AI, how the data is never used to train, how at a subscription level in M365 things, for example, your policies, the way you have your tenants defined. That's where things stay, never go out. So there's a lot of specificity on that one, and that's the type of information that you should be equipped, including your sales teams, to be able to articulate with precision when these things arise, because that was probably the first thing that the research was telling us. The next one has to do with how familiar the organizations are with AI. And obviously, unless you've been living, I don't know, in a place with no connectivity in a remote island, everyone seems to be familiar. This number continues to go up. But familiarity, more importantly, has to do with how actually is being used. And surprisingly, since the very early days, and this number has been jumping, we see more than half of the SMBs that were in the survey are already using AI. They are aware in some cases, but what matters in this number, it's a double click. Almost 10% have extensive use of AI of these 52. 15% are using it in applications that they already were using. They're just getting enhanced. And this includes applications not only from Microsoft, but also competitors, or even in other areas that we don't serve, where AI features are getting inserted, and that's been around. They realize it's been around for a couple of years. And then the most important number is that almost 40% were in the process of a pilot phase. So this is serious. This stuff just became available like recently, and now they're like in pilot. So I think that was very important to show the big demand and interest for customers to start to test this in their own business to achieve their specific objectives. So if we go to the next one, satisfaction is important. And I think that this is something that we always talk about related to deployment and usage. And some of you that had to go and talk about renewing a subscription and things like that know how important that is. And it's business value realization. So very interestingly, compared to other benchmarks, this is very high. The fact that they're getting immediate satisfaction and value from the use of the technology is very compelling. And that's why you see this boom and this continued growth. And I know that what I'm saying is very obvious, but it's very different to see it in research coming real live from customers after talking to 100 and then 1,000 and then a couple of thousand, just super consistently. When we think about the adoption, this is an important phenomenon. And you might remember that Erwin called it out yesterday, but different from the previous innovation waves, what we see here is that this is being brought or not being rolled out by the owner or the IT department. Is basically coming from the employees. So what I wanted to show you in the next slide is basically this chart is very interesting because we're using this term bring your own AI or shadow AI. And the difference between those two is someone that actually said, hey, I'm using this tool, and the owner or the IT manager knows. And the other one, the shadow one, is that they don't even know. But the employees they probably have like a subscription, whether it's being free on the web, or maybe they are playing with ChatGPT, or they're paying a subscription. They're using it to do their daily job, and no one is aware. So there's an important role that we think you can play to be educating, demystifying, and also putting some important guidelines in terms of what's going to be used, how it's going to be used, and then those type of conversations are important opportunities for you to go back to the business value realization dialogue in terms of what do you want to achieve, what is important for you, what are you empowering your customers to do, your employees to do, and how do you think this can help you serve your business objectives, whether that's increasing more customers or better serving your existing ones. Continuing with the rapid fire, and then we're going to pause very soon for the actual use case scenario, is the use cases. And this one is super important. So we'll dive on the business optimization. But I wanted to highlight these 6 one. We have automation, business optimization, which includes then sales and marketing and client automation, employee recruitment and retention, data-driven decision-making, and I'm mindful that maybe in the back I don't know if you can read it, so that's why I'm going through every line. And then optimizing and skilling up your employees, and many other uses. On the automation part, I think it's important to call out the specificity. So I'm going to be a little bit more descriptive. So we have in manufacturing, depending on the business scope, things like, for example, predictive maintenance with machine learning models. In engineering and construction companies, automated procurement. In retail, order fulfillment and follow-up. In hospitality, automated pre-sales and service chat agents to do customer engagement and increase that part of the satisfaction with customers and increasing sales. So there's more categories in marketing. The part that is enabled for content creation being speed up, like, I don't even know there's a specific measurement of how quickly you can now develop campaigns and content versus what it took before, but seeing tremendous impact there for businesses. And then the part that might not be coming across here as clear is data-driven decision for the small businesses. So it's an important one because that's true empowerment, right? When we're able to make decisions. So I'm going to cover that in some of the examples shortly. So when we think about automation, I wanted to bring to life perhaps a double click on the double click to be more specific. So the business optimization is where we think we're giving you here not ideas. This is research based, so this is real. When we think how do we sell Copilot, it's not about selling the feature that teams can do the recording of my notes and stuff like that, but actually what you're trying to achieve. So just 5 things to call out here: multimedia, text, content personalization, optimization, and management. The productivity and collaboration, you're going to see it a lot in Copilot. The automation with stakeholders through AI chatbots and other means to engage with customers. Cybersecurity, I don't know if there was a session specifically showing Copilot with security, but it has to do with the automation of a lot of the tasks that are very laborious at the speed of AI, which is super important. And then legal and compliance and risk management, which is really revolutionizing many sectors. You know how laborious in terms of paperwork the legal space is. So a lot of groundbreaking innovation to make things way faster and more efficient for not only the legal entities, but the customers that they're serving. In analysis of documents, contact reviews, procurement, risk assessments, adherence to regulatory and compliance standards. And especially not only in North America, but in everywhere, the rules start to vary by specific zip codes or counties or states. So it becomes really relevant. And this is really empowering our businesses. So as we close to the end, related to the insights, and before we give you the real case scenario, there's an important part to talk about the automation of certain functions. And I know that in the very beginning, a year and a half ago, it was about like, oh, we're going to get displaced. And the way we think about it is empowering businesses to do more and being able to assign people to not do redundant tasks that can be automated and adding more value to other activities that they were not doing. So there's at least 20% right now task or role being automated. And we see that consistently reported not only by this research, but by other firms such as McKinsey, the World Economic Forum, OpenAI, et cetera. So very consistent in terms of how we can think about automation. And then this creates an economic disruption, which is translated into business value. So when you think about all the different roles that can benefit from this, you're going to have from marketing, accounting, legal, finance, it's everywhere. And we talked yesterday in the panel about where to start, functional department. Those are great use case scenarios where you could start. Okay, so just one last thing. If you're thinking beyond North America, the research right now is actively tracking more than 10,000 tools, companies, and groups. And the interesting thing is not just the number of 10,000 of AI tools that are getting deployed and growing every day. It also has to do with actually where they are. So We click to the next one, please. They're 90% are being created outside of the United States or the classic hubs, which include the tech hubs. So there's really a democratization and I would say maybe grassroots of things coming from the very bottom and across the world, which is a very interesting phenomenon. And interestingly, they're SMBs. A lot of these companies that are creating these tools are SMBs. So they're smaller companies. Even OpenAI at some point was very small. So it is one that is super important to note. So I'm gonna just give you a quick snapshot of these because I think I wanna give you take 2 step backs. This was covered yesterday by Harp. The way we think about AI at Microsoft, just reminding everyone, we have the best cloud, the most secure cloud, the more trusted and comprehensive cloud. But the way what I like about this slide is just how to think about how we're rolling out AI. First, it's going to come in every cloud service that we have. Number 2, we're going to build AI capabilities for our customers, and that's where you come in and have a super important play. And number 3, we're going to do it in a trust and in a safeguard and safe way. So those are the 3 main pitches, super simple, pretty straightforward, and I wanted to remind you about that basic concept. So with that said, let's go to the fun part. So we talked about AI use cases, business optimization. So we thought it would be fun to show you what would this look at in the day of the life of a small business owner. So with that, we're going to move to the next slide, and this slide has actual demos that has like a flash. So you're going to see it come to life. If we can click to the next one. Okay. So it's starting to play. And I'm going to try to keep you up with what's going on in the screen. These are literally 5 seconds flash animations so that you can see it real time. But this is Lily. She is a small business owner based in Seattle. She's arriving a couple of hours before she starts the day, and her staff shows up to work. And the first thing she's going to do is check her inbox in Outlook. And she's going to ask Copilot to flag important items. Additionally, while she's doing that, I don't know if you saw it on the flash. It went really fast, so we'll be ready for the next one. But basically, she realizes that there's a customer escalation that came overnight, and she's going to ask Copilot to draft a response to resolve that specific situation. And just there, she's saving a lot of time by being able to not have to go through all her emails in the past that would have taken her a long time, or maybe she's already late and doing something else running, and that unsatisfied customer just stay there without being served. So Copilot is going to help her automate those routinely tasks and providing recommendations of where things are that are important to get through. And she's going to be able to summarize these long email threads into specific answers. So as she moves to her day, Lily starts to see analysis, and what she's doing here is starting to analyze sales trends, specifically to create comparison between online and in-store sales, because she sells things in a store and online. So the use case that we're trying to show here is basically how can you automate the analysis of sales to maximize revenue, and how to also do insights around project inventory to make informed decisions. So in this specific example, what you saw in that little flash demo is Copilot Excel putting rich capabilities at Lily's fingertips, understanding customer behaviors, what products are selling more, understanding where she's making more margins. Should she be selling more things online, putting discounts on certain items that might be older inventory, or trying to do a promotion in store depending on traffic. So this is a clear example of where the Copilot will give her specific insights and recommendations to actually increase profitability and serve her customers. So then with this data, Lily is going to also ask Copilot to summarize the feedback. So what you want to do is transform this data into specific insights. So The nice thing about this one in our M365 suite and Copilot is that you can bring across the apps this information, so they're not siloed. And this is going to be something that is important for her because she can do it in a not only compliant but confidential and secure way. So Lily is going to ask Copilot not only for the data but asking for the pros and cons of moving inventory. Copilot is going to give recommendations, and then there's going to be feedback incorporated to identify ideas of improvement based on the input that she's getting. So this is enabling her to have very valuable business insights. And now that Lily's armed with this information, she's going to have a better focus to do what would be creating more impact. So she's going to ask Copilot in Word to make a draft proposal based on the content that she summarized, and be able to come up with a specific document that has all the insights summarized in a really nice way. So this is something that becomes then a document that is a proposal, data-driven insights, taking real data, and then being able to use Word, Copilot in Word to create high-quality content and to be able to have a good engagement, not only with her team, but with her customers and things that she can do. So what you saw there in the flash was basically Copilot creating the document for Lily in a matter of seconds. So pretty cool. Then after spending a few hours helping customers, because she's like any small business owner doing multiple jobs, Lily's readdressing the email from supplier. She has concerns in terms of deliverables. So before sending a reply, she's going to do more work with Copilot. She's going to go into PowerPoint and create a draft presentation that illustrates some requirements that she has related to her supplier. There were some concerns about friendly packaging and renewable energy manufacturing from some of her customers, valid concerns. So she's going to try to elaborate that one in a visual way. And Copilot is going to help her in PowerPoint to create a compelling visual related to this point that she had the data that she was working on. So you can start a presentation with a simple prompt. And what you see here is that the presentation is not just random based on a prompt. She's using the other two documents, because you can upload those documents into the chat with Copilot. And based on that data, Copilot is going to build a custom proposal in PowerPoint. So what she's doing here is creating and engaging with very specific targeted content that will achieve her initial goals based on the analysis that she did in Excel and some of the interactions that she had with her supplier. So then in the afternoon, she's going to have a team meeting with her organization to talk about the things that she was working on. So in this one, besides being able to share the content that she used, she's going to be able to record. And I'm pretty sure that you're seeing that. That's probably one of my most used features is I'm playing recordings in every single meeting, even when I'm in one-on-ones, because I just get an amazing recap of what we discussed. And then that becomes actionable, and it's also available for people that might not be in the meeting at that moment. And you can also query Copilot to get specific insights of something that you maybe heard but forgot that someone mentioned in the meeting. So this is super compelling, and it will be doing the transcript of every speech being recognized, translated into text, and that's what Copilot is querying. Can I ask, raise of hands, who's using Copilot in Teams today? Okay, wow, that's amazing. That's great. I thought it was going to be probably less than half, but it sounds like you are all doing it. So that's fantastic. So let's move on to the next one. And then Lily is not the only one using AI in her business. So there's another team member called Alice. And Alice actually is empowering the e-commerce sales, and she's the service rep. So she has like another two hats. So Alice is actually using a CRM. In this case, it's Salesforce. But you know, the cool thing about this one is that Copilot for sales is an AI system that can be connected with any CRM system. So what she's going to be able to do is unlock productivity for the sellers in the sales cycle, bring sales insights, recommendations, and all the tools that AI is providing to her that are integrated, more importantly, in Outlook, Teams, and Word. So that's the beauty of the sales AI Copilot for Sales as an AI assistant integrated into what they're using. Hopefully, it's Dynamics, but we also make it work for other competitors in a very seamless way. So some powerful examples is being able to capture meeting notes when they're discussing specific opportunities, whether it's Salesforce or Dynamics 365 Sales, updating sales opportunities, updating contact records in the CRM, and then analyzing customer sentiment and pulling competitive insights. All of that automated, and this is not a full Copilot for Sales demo, but I think just wanted to illustrate the concept of how it spans through what Lily, and in this case, Alice would be doing. So just to keep going here, this is what I just mentioned. She's going to be able to generate and have that integration across the specific sales cycle to allow her to achieve her sales goals, or in this case, to allow her to be more productive and make the company thrive. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail just of time, but I think you get the concept in terms of how important decisions can be made through the use of AI. And then I just wanted to pause here. That's the last part of the demo. And I just wanted to close with a couple of thoughts. So hopefully this was very useful. But it's super important that we hold each other accountable in terms of keeping it real. Number one, how can we make and take advantage of all the content that you're seeing here? We know we were putting a lot in just these few days, but I think it gives you an idea of the different areas where you can start and really leveraging in all the different breakouts and sessions what we have. My most important takeaway is what I said at the beginning: business value realization. So moving beyond features of things that Copilot would do in Outlook or things like that to really connect it to business customer outcomes. That's super important. So hopefully you saw the connection between the research, what the data is telling us, and the case studies to make that connection. And then we did wanted to do an introduction. This is not something new. We've been running it for at least 4 months, which is a tool that we are making available for all of you called the AI Compass. The AI Compass, it's a consultative tool that allows you to show it to your customers so they can do it by themselves. It takes less than 5 minutes. We're going to show a QR code, but before you pull your devices and check it out, it's a very simple concept. So the customer basically puts their information, and it allows them to understand where are the base cases of AI, especially understanding where they are in there's a maturity score. So it'll tell them how ready they are and what specific steps they can take to start working. And what we would like to encourage you to do is to test it out, because in the case of the question that many of you were asking me yesterday, Jose, where do I start? We think this can be a great icebreaker. For those customers that are in a more mature state and is more a conversation of like, I need it deployed now because maybe I bought a license, that's a different conversation. But we think that the maturity tool will definitely help you not only break ice, but get very specific insights of where you can start driving AI. So the tool basically gets you that free assessment. It will be connecting the trends that we have. We have a very small screenshot here of the index and the definitions, and then the output actually will give the customer suggestions based on the stage where they are or where can they start, and then give a specific recommendation based on which industry they are. So the tool is actually taking in consideration different industries, and now it's rolled out not only in the US, but it's also taking a lot of traction in Latin America, and some of you are serving customers there. Yes. We had one more that I was just talking before we started the show. Oh, there you are. Yeah, you're starting in Brazil to do some work. So we have it we have it ready there as well, and in Europe. So really important, and something that is another tool in your toolbox that we think is going to be an important tool. So just to close, this is the QR code. I will leave it here. And while you're taking pictures or scanning directly, just let me recap the three things that we talked. First, who are the SMBs? They're not a monolith. Different maturity cycles, different purchasing behaviors. Assess your customers, understand what is your plan to acquire them. Number two, how AI is being embraced. We show you data with specific insights that are super compelling in terms of the confidence that customers have in the value that this can bring. And number three, you saw life in the day in the life example, a lot of Copilot inserted through that customer journey of a day in the life of Lily and Alice. But more importantly, in addition to the tool, just wanted to emphasize the importance of business customer outcomes and value realization. That's where you should be starting. Don't start with the Copilot. We need to start to understand what is the customer trying to achieve now and what is important to them. So with that, I wanted just to thanks again, everyone. Hopefully this was insightful and inspiring, and we have a great day ahead. And I'm going to hand it over to Heather, that's going to come with the next topic. So thank you.